Hey guys, what's going on? White Fox 1225 here with another ESO Saturday, the video series where we talk about all the new ESO news coming out. Today we're going to be talking about Quakecon 2015. Got a lot of information, the biggest information drop we've had in a while, because really there's been no news. It seems like they were kind of waiting until Quakecon, they opened up the floodgates, and now we just have, a huge amount of news to cover. So it's going to be a longer video, but in the video we're just going to go over the huge announcements first, the big ones that they made, and then later in the video we'll be going over into all the Imperial City stuff in really big depth to make sure you guys know what's coming and stuff like that. They did mostly do the Imperial City, though they did cover some stuff that's going to come after that, which is really cool, and just some bigger announcements in general. So let's just get it started right off now. Just going to go over the key news points and then go deeper, like I said. So first off, the Imperial City is coming to PTS servers next week. Really exciting, so you guys can get your hands on that. It's really awesome to test these things out because you guys can give them your input. They do change things actually from update to update depending on the feedback they get. So make sure you guys, if you want to be part of that and you want to get in the Imperial City early and get to have your voice heard, make sure you guys go and try that out. I know they really appreciate it. Next, we have the release date for the Imperial City. It's coming to August 31st for PC, and for console it's coming around mid-September, so a little later than the PC version. It's going to come free, obviously, with your ESO Plus membership, or it's going to cost you 2,500 crowns to get the thing in the Crown store. Now, other than that, they released some information on how often we're going to get content and updates. They're going to be quarterly, so expect about 4 a year, probably one every 3 months if you go by that math. First is going to come the Imperial City, obviously, like we just talked about. Then we're going to get Orgrimmar, the new zone, the PvE zone that you can solo or do with friends. It's not an adventure zone. It's one of the game ones we had in the original game. Then in January and later than that, we're gonna get some news in January, and it's gonna be coming, I assume, early in that year. Really cool, guys. Super excited about this. We're gonna get the Dark Brotherhood and the Thieves Guild. Finally, those are gonna be two separate updates, but something we've been waiting for a really long time. Something I've been waiting for a really long time. Super excited this in the game. I just get like really excited just thinking about it. After that, those are all the ones they talked about, but the ones we know. I did this in a prior video, but I'll just go over them quick. We got Mire that we know about. It's a new adventure zone in Black Marsh. Melfa's Realm, which is a new Daedric Plain zone. Clockwork City, which is an underground Dwemer City. That's a new zone too. And then Abba's Landing, which is somewhere in Hammerfell. We don't know a lot about those, but those are in the works that we know about right now. They also added that the new zone should have about 25 hours of content, which is really cool. Really excited about that. But that's pretty much all they said about what's coming up. They did talk about the past a little bit. They said Tamriel Unlimited has been doing really well financially for them and commercially. They said the console launch was way bigger than they ever expected, and I'm sure that's why the servers went down a little bit. But they got that all fixed now. They said on PC the amount of players playing is more than they expected, so it seems like they're doing pretty good financially, which is always good to hear about a game you like, especially one that relies on constant money to keep making it. Other than that, guys, some smaller updates that they're planning on making. They're going to improve the looking for group system. Right now, if you play ESO, you know it really is kind of broken and doesn't work at all. So they are working on improving that. They said it's going to be sort of a long effort, but they are working on it right now. Another thing that they're adding, which is really cool and something pretty shocking, is that you can play with other players from other alliances in PvE. They're going to start this by letting you play with other players in dungeons, and then move it to be even larger than that and more expansive. So that means if you have a friend who's in the Ebonheart Pact and you're in the All-Mary Dominion, you guys are going to be able to do some do some dungeons together, and that's pretty revolutionary for the game. It's going to allow, first off, you to play with your friends. Second off, it's going to allow you just to have more players to play with. Think of right now you can play with 1/3 of the player base, and sometimes you have trouble finding people to do that dungeon with you. Well, now you have triple that, so you can have all these players to play with and more options. It's going to make looking for group better, which I think is probably the inspiration behind it, but also cool that we can finally play with some of our friends who chose different alliances. Now, other than that, subtitles are going to be added to the game, which is kind of nice. I use those in Skyrim, nice to be able to read in case you don't hear that well, or it's just loud in your house or something like that. Controller support is coming to PC, another big announcement. So the way it's going to work is when you plug in your controller, it goes to the controller UI, and when you touch your mouse, it switches. So you can theoretically just switch back and forth as much as you want, which is a really nice feature. They said they use it all the time, and it's working. It's still in beta right now. It's not done, but expect that to come pretty soon. Other than that, guys, the big announcement, not really big, but important, that they are still planning on removing veteran ranks. It's going to come after Orgrimmar update. They said it's just a really long process because everything relies on veteran ranks. The leveling system, the itemization, all that kind of stuff relies on it. So they kind of have to take their time, but they are really planning on removing the veteran ranks and just keeping the champion system as the end game leveling system. So other than that, guys, that's pretty much all the big announcements we got. Other than that, they went really in depth with the Imperial City, so we're going to cover that right now and go over just everything that we know about it pretty much and everything we learned about this update. So first off, like I said, Imperial City will be hitting the PTS servers next week. And it is, in case you guys really know nothing about it, the Imperial City is in the middle of Citadel, and it's previously been closed, but now they're going to open it, and it's going to have a mix of PvE and PvP. So let's just start talking about the PvE first. Actually, let's talk about how you actually get in. So the way you enter the Imperial City is through the sewers. They're pretty much neutral, so you can go in any entrance, and you end up in your home base. That home base is like where your alliance is. There's stuff to buy, you can talk to people, and it's pretty much where you start. From there, you can go down to the sewers, which is a huge PvE, PvP public dungeon, or you could go up and do some of the story zones, or just some PvP in the street. But like I said, let's talk about the PvE to begin with. So there's two new PvE dungeons, the 4-man dungeons that we've seen in the game previously. So each one is going to have, the standard veteran mode, or sorry, just the standard mode, and then also a veteran mode for you to play. There are two of them, like I said. The first one is the Imperial City Prison. Like I said, 4-player dungeon. There's two versions. And then your friend Lyranth, I don't know if you guys remember her, but she is in the Cold Harbor zone. She returns as she is a Daedra. She returns and she's seeking revenge on the warden of the prison, so you have to help her take him out. That's pretty much the story of the dungeon. One cool thing is when you do kill the warden, you can take his head and you can wear that as sort of like a mask helmet thing. A new feature that they added, they talked about it at the last Quakecon. Pretty cool that you can actually wear the bosses as, like you can just like wear their heads as helmets, which is kind of a cool thing. Other than that, guys, we have the White Gold Tower dungeon. If you don't know, the White Gold Tower is a huge tower in the middle of the Imperial City, traditionally where the Emperor stays. It has 4 players. Like I said, 2 versions again, the veteran and the non-veteran. Each of these, I should add, has an undaunted daily, which is a cool little feature in case people like doing that. I know some people do. But in this one, you have to recover a scroll that was hidden by the owners of the tower, the Moth Priests, and you have to get the scroll because it can help save the White Tower from being taken over, or the White Gold Tower from being taken into the plane meld. It looks pretty cool. One cool thing that they did add is that the sky like opens up and like you can just like see the plane melt happening and things are flowing. It looks pretty intense and it looks just like really cool, like a really cool design dungeon. Not a lot in terms of like the story or the boss fights we got to see, but like I said, it just kind of like opens up to the sky and the sky looks really menacing. It just looks really cool. If you guys could see it, it looks really amazing. And I'll put some footage on the screen. I'll have the whole Quakecon thing going on the screen so you guys can watch it if you choose to. I know it's a lot of people just talking with a mic, but I just figured I'd play that over this video in case you guys were curious, and I'll have a link to the actual video in the description too. In terms of dungeons, on top of that, we also got the new PvP, PvE dungeon, which is the sewers of the actual place. Now, in this area, it's not clear if it's going to have a story. I'm sure it'll have a little storyline. You can kill these enemies and these monsters, but also it's going to be open PvP, so you can just encounter players down there randomly. It's kind of cool. You'll never know if you're fighting AI, and then all of a sudden, an enemy player attacks you. It's going to be pretty hectic, but also pretty awesome. Pretty excited to see how this works out, because it is the first PvP, PvE dungeon in the game. It's going to be cool to see it, and like I said, it is a public dungeon, so more than 4 players, obviously more than one alliance too. Now there's also going to be 12 sweepers throughout the city. These sweepers are, basically world bosses, except they move around, and they're pretty tough from what it looks like. You cannot solo them, but there are 12 different ones that are going to move around, and you can take them down with your friends, and of course get the gear and stuff that they drop. Now there's also this new thing called treasure vaults. These things are basically just replacements for the NPC quests that just say, hey, go collect me 10 of these, the ones in PvP in Citadel where it was just kind of like filler, the quests are kind of boring. These are basically just replacing those people. They're called treasure vaults, so if you collect 10 scamp heads, let's say, you can return them in and it'll just give you a piece of gear, so you can just keep repeating those to get the gear that you want. Kind of cool, nice little feature, so we don't have to just, go through a quest cycle over and over again. So that will be in the game. And then we'll also, of course, just have regular quests. The regular quests, it look like they're going to be pretty cool. Looks like there will be a quest line that somewhat involves the burning of books, they said. Not really sure. We really didn't get any details on what the quest line would be, but they're going to be in the different zones, like the Noble Zone, all that stuff, those zones that we know from Oblivion. And speaking of Oblivion, they did say the White Gold Tower in the Imperial City is going to feel fairly familiar for players who played Oblivion. They didn't change it that much. It is 700 years earlier, but it's going to be pretty true to it, and if you played Oblivion, you're going to recognize it definitely, which is something that I liked about ESO, just visiting those places that I already been in and seeing how they were different and stuff. The one big difference obviously is that the plane melt is going on while we're in the actual city, so the city has like, you know, like these cold harbor features that weren't there previously, obviously, because, you know, the plane melt is actually going on. This is sort of Mogul Ball's, they said, last ditch effort to actually, you know, take the plane melt. They said they kind of want to wrap up the story with Mogul Ball and move on to different things, so this is going to do that. It's kind of like his last day in the last part of Tamriel that he still has, because obviously you liberated the rest of it in the actual story. So now, you know, you actually have to, you know, kind of just finish him off. And that's kind of the story of the Imperial City, but we really don't know much more about that. Other than that, it probably will involve lots of Daedra, just kind of a guess. But the video they showed of the actual areas and stuff looked super beautiful, guys. I can't even say how, like, it made me kind of, like, emotional just watching it. It was so great. So it really just, like, beautiful scenery. There was part with, like, a tree that was, like, glowing blue. I don't know where it is, but it was just the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Just lots of awesome video of the areas that just, like, super great and made me just, you know, like, so super excited to play this. Just some really cool stuff. Other than that, guys, we do get a few new Daedra. One, just a group of Daedra called the Exvinkin, I think is how you pronounce it. And Smogul Ball's like elite force, you know, like it's like special forces that he sends out. And so we're gonna have to encounter those. I think they're a little new, maybe new designs, but also probably tougher, I imagine. But yeah, guys, this is pretty much just going to wrap up the Mogul Ball story, and, you know, there's going to be those PvE quests a lot and stuff like that, so it should be pretty cool. You know, the PvE is very story focused, they said, so pretty excited for that, because that was my favorite part of ESO to begin with. But moving on, let's talk about the PvP in the Imperial City. So PvP, they said, is a lot more small scaled and a lot more close quarters, so there's not going to be as many players as, like, when you're going into a keep or something. It's not going to be that hectic. There's going to be, you know, fewer players in the area, but it's going to be close quarters. It's not like the open fields of Cyrodiil where you can, you know, sneak around and just run away. It's not going to be like siege weaponry. It's going to be really a different style of PvP than we're used to, which is really cool. Like I said, more small scale, which is something that I'm really excited for, because that's actually what I like in PvP. Even though I do like those huge siege battles, I do like the, you know, the 2-on-2, 1-on-1, 4-on-4 battles that, you know, you can still have in Cyrodiil, but not really the same as when you have to have them. So it's going to be kind of a new style of PvP. The PvP is going to be on the streets of the Imperial City, and also going to be in the sewer public dungeon that we talked about earlier. So when you die, you are going to respawn elevated to everything, so it's not like you respawn, you get attacked, you die, you respawn, like something like Call of Duty or something. You are going to respawn on like an elevated platform where you can kind of look at the battle, see what's going on, you know, jump off if you want, or you can kind of like retreat away. They said there's like 2 exit points from the elevated area that you respawn on. So one cool thing they added to make the PvP really intense and really like adrenaline rushing is this new currency called Telvar stones. Now you can get them from PvE, you know, when you kill monsters, when you loot treasure chests, anything like that, you're gonna get these Telvar stones. Now they can be used as currency, just like coins, but they also can be used to purchase some special gear that you can only buy with those stones, and also some materials that you can only buy with those stones, stuff to get the really cool gear that's being introduced that we're gonna talk about later. So, like I said, you get them from PvE, but when you kill another player, you get their stones. So, you know, there's going to be a huge emphasis on not dying and surviving. Now, you can, of course, turn your stones in the Alliance area, so it's not like, you know, you play for 4 hours and then you lose everything. That could happen, but if you're good about turning them in, that's not going to happen, but you can still lose them. So there's going to be a big incentive to just kill other players, and also just a big incentive to survive. It's going to make that extra, like, your life counts, like, fight for your life sort of feeling. It's going to be really cool, because it's just going to add a whole new area of just, like, intenseness to the PvP, I feel like. But it is a little controversial, you know, adding a new currency is not something to do lightly, so we're gonna have to see how it goes on the PTS servers, and that's why your feedback is so important to them. So make sure you guys play and tell them what you think about this new system. But really cool that they added this. You can tell they really worked a lot in depth on this update, because there's a lot of cool new stuff coming. So let's move on and talk about the new cosmetic stuff that they're adding to the game. They said they're adding new armor, pets, and costumes, though they didn't talk about the pets in the update, so we'll have to see. Those are probably being introduced in the Crown Store, would be my guess, but they also might be quest rewards. We have seen that in the past with ESO. So first let's talk about the armor. So of course, you know, you can craft the armor that is being introduced. You can get it through PvP as rewards from the worthy, or you can just get it from drops from PvE like we're used to, just from bosses or regular enemies or anything like that. So all armor is going to be equal. So it used to be that when you crafted your armor, it was slightly stronger than the armor you could get through PvE or PvP, but that's completely changed. It's all equal now. No armor is better than any other armor. I think they did it because they just kind of want people to not focus on, crafting, getting the Telvar stones, but kind of just being out and doing the PvP and PvE. That's just my guess, but like I said, all of those ways of crafting and getting the armor are now equal. So let's just go over the armor that's added in the game. There's going to be 12 complete dungeon sets that you can get from doing the dungeons, 2 new monster masks, which we'll talk about. We'll talk about all these later, 6 Telvar stone sets that you can buy with your Telvar stones, 3 crafted sets that you can only craft, and then 11 revamped PvP sets. So let's go back a little bit. First off, the 12 complete dungeon sets, not really sure what they are, but you can get them from doing the dungeons. There are 2 new monster masks. So monster masks are something they talked about last time at Quakecon. You get them from killing the bosses of the 2 new PvE dungeons. So one is the warden of that prison, and then one is something else, but it looks pretty cool. I forget what the name of it is, but they're gonna be, you get them from killing the boss. You can take their head and then make it into a helmet, which is pretty cool. Nice little new feature, and each one is gonna give you a specific buff or extra bonus. There's going to be 6 Telvar sets that you can buy with those Telvar stones that I talked about earlier, so you can only buy them with the Telvar stones, which gives you the incentive to save those and make sure you don't die from enemies and let the people steal your, Telvar stones. There's going to be the 3 crafted sets that you can only use for crafting, so you're probably going to have to find the motif, get the new crafting materials by buying them from Telvar stones, or you can decomp old gear. But you're going to have to, craft these. You can't find them in the world. You're going to have to, get the motif, or of course have someone craft them for you, or you can buy them with your coins. And then there's going to be the 11 revamped PvP sets. So there already are some Alliance sets in the game, but these are all revamped. They look really, really cool. They're all, just better and extra. They're going to be as rewards from the worthy now. You're not going to have to spend your Alliance points and get them. They're going to be sent to you in the mail, which is a nice little feature. They said they didn't want people just being able to save up points and then buying them when the DLC launches and have the best gear in the game. They want people to actually have to play, so that's why they did it like that. They're also adding jewelry mini sets. They're going to give you small buffs. Not really sure how that's different from the jewelry that we have right now, but it is something they said that they're going to add, so that's kind of cool. Moving on, let's talk about the new costume that looks really awesome, and that's the Soul-Shriven skin. So in the past we get costumes, they usually, add something to your character, remove your armor. This one's different because it makes your skin, bluish, kind of like a clear blue. It looks really awesome. I'm excited to use it. Definitely the coolest costume I think that's in the game, and I can see this being really popular. So not sure you're going to get it. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a quest reward, but we're going to have to wait and see. They also added the portal stone that you can buy with your Telvar stones, and that's going to teleport you right back to your Alliance base in the Imperial City from anywhere you are. So let's say you're far away and you're lazy, you can teleport back there, or you just killed players and you want to get out of there quick, you can also use this. And like I said, you have to buy it with those Telvar stones. We got a new enchantment. That enchantment is the prismatic enchantment, and this is going to give you stamina, health, and magicka instead of just one of those. Obviously, they're going to be less than you would if you just chose one, but kind of cool for those hybrid builds where you can get all of that stuff at once. Definitely a cool thing that they added. So that's pretty much all we got in terms of Imperial City news. Definitely sounds exciting, really more expansive than I thought. Just a lot of new stuff coming. You can tell they really worked on this hard for the last couple of months. So really excited for it. I hope you guys are excited about it too. Really just excited for the future of ESO. This is going to be awesome. Origin is going to be awesome. And then the Dark Brotherhood and Thieves Guild is just going to be amazing. So lots of cool stuff coming. Nice that we finally got this news, because in a while we were just kind of in the dark with what was going on with ESO. But now that we finally have this, I can say I'm super excited for the future. Of course, guys, as we go on and we get more news, I'll be covering it, be going over my impressions of the Imperial City, maybe even what I think of it on the PTS, or if I get long enough to play it when it's on that. So make sure you guys stay tuned for all that good stuff. If you want to hit the subscribe button, that'd be awesome. I want to say I got to 700 subscribers really recently, and I'm so thankful. It means the absolute world to me. So thank you guys for taking the time to watch my content, because there's definitely other people out there that you can get it from, but it means the world to me that you decided to get it from me. So thank you guys so much, and that's really that's all I have to say. But thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.